Okay, so we're on Revelation chapter 12 still, and we're going to start with verse 7. So here we go. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to earth, and his angels with him. All right, let's stop there. So I think this is at some point in time in the book of in the tribulation period. I don't think this is in the past when there was a rebellion. I think that rebellion happened, but there's another war in heaven that happens. And we've talked about this before. Satan loses access to heaven. Okay, and I think he's not too happy about this. And that's he knows his time's short, and we're going to see that. And then he puts all of his wrath toward God's people, Israelite or Christian. Let's turn to Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. Okay, so Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. At that time, Michael, the great prince who protects your people, will arise. Remember Michael, the archangel Michael, okay, who's the protector of Israel. There will be a time of distress such as has not happened from the beginning of the nations until then. Okay, so I think that what we're referring to in Revelation chapter 12, verse 7, okay, is this reference to Daniel chapter 12. And there will be a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. So here we have Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon, what seems to be about the midpoint of the tribulation period. And then we go to Daniel chapter 12, and we see Michael rise up against Satan, and then it talks about that great tribulation period. So I think they're one and the same. Again, let Scripture interpret Scripture. Okay, now let's go on to verse 10. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, "Now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God, and the authority of his Christ. For the accuser of our brothers, who accuses them before our God day and night, has been hurled down." So there we go again. The accuser, so he's accusing the brothers, us. He's up there literally accusing you of all the stuff that you do, saying you're not worthy. And then Christ says, well, nope, my blood covers it all. It's the same argument, I'm sure, time and time again. Satan's probably a little frustrated by now. So, for the accuser of others, accuse them day and night, has been hurled down, loses the access to heaven. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them. So rejoice, heaven, Satan is gone. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury, because he knows that his time is short. Satan is not happy. When this event happens and he is kicked out of heaven, Satan knows the handwriting on the wall. Satan knows his end is near, and his judgment and punishment is coming soon. So he's going to do everything he can to take as many people away from God through killing them, and through those who don't know him, and also killing as many Christians and Jews as they can just to torture them, because he's angry. So, verse 13. Oh, okay, one other thing. This word for fury, he is filled with fury, it refers to an emotional and not a rational state of mind. So Satan has become unhinged, and that is not a good thought. When someone becomes unhinged on earth, I mean, we see when just the carnage that people, when they become unhinged. Okay, you think of our mass murders and all this other stuff. Not a good thing. When we have Satan, who has a lot of power and a lot of tools in his tool bag, and he becomes unhinged, then we can see what happens in the Great Tribulation. Understand a little bit why the persecution is so great. Okay, verse 13. When the dragon saw that he had been hurled to earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. The woman is Israel. And Satan's mad because Israel gave birth to the male child that is ultimately going to result in his destruction and punishment. The woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle so that she might fly to the place prepared for her in the desert, where she would be taken care of for a time, times and a half. Time, times and a half, 3.5 years, 1,260 days, which we just saw that they're just reiterating already what is going to happen. It's redundant, it's repetitive. Out of the serpent's reach. So God is going to miraculously protect the nation of Israel for 3.5 years, or times, times and a half, or 1,260 days. It's all one and the same. Then from his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river to overtake the woman and sweep her away from the torrent. But the earth helped the woman by opening its mouth and swallowing that river that the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. What is all that about? Okay, we can take it literally. I think maybe there is a literal interpretation here. Maybe Satan knows where they are. He literally has some sort of flood idea in mind. Says, all right, you know what? They're trapped. If I flood them out, then they're all dead. Okay? That's one interpretation. I go with the more literal. That's what I think. It could be more figurative, and it could be just that he's going to attack them somehow, and somehow the lay of the land, whatever, or miraculously God is just going to protect them. It's going to open the mouth, and something's going to happen. I prefer the first one, but we're going to see. Well, hopefully I won't see, but it will be seen, and you're going to know what happens then. And we're going to say, "Yep, Scott was right," or "Scott was wrong." But by then I'm going to say, "Who cares?" Because I'm up in heaven. Okay, so, but I give you 2 options, just in case I'm wrong in my interpretation. So, and then in chapter 17. Then the dragon was enraged at the woman and went off to make war against the rest of her offspring, those who obey God's commandments and hold to the testimony of Jesus. So Satan, the Jews are camped out there somewhere in the wilderness. Satan says, I'm going to go get them Jews. God miraculously protects them and makes Satan the fool again. And so Satan is really mad now. And he says, okay, I can't touch them, but you know who I can touch? All those people who believe in Jesus, and I'm coming after them. Okay? And that's where we're going to end. And in chapter 13, we're going to find out how Satan does this. And it has something to do with the mark of the beast and 666. So let's conclude there.